I don't know. We get a lot of bullshit thrown at us by Putin. For you want to know the truth. He's very nice all the time, but it turns out to be meaningless.
Do you want to sanction him? Lindsey Graham has a sanctions bill on Russia. Do you want him to vote?
I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I'm looking. The Senate is passing and passed a very tough sanctions bill. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Can you sign that?
It's
Donald Trump's administration is in complete crisis right now. And when that is the case, Donald Trump usually turns to his favorite activity, taking those tiny little thumbs of his to Truth Social to freak out, rage posts, attack anyone who is upsetting him, and try to cover his own ass, which is exactly what we just saw as Donald Trump tries to change the narrative and distract us amid the Epstein file scandal. And he did it with an insane post on Truth Social that is ultimately just backfiring as MAGA turns on him. We're going to get into it all. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into what Donald Trump posted on Truth Social about this Epstein catastrophe, I want to start with why he's posting it. And it's because MAGA is furious. MAGA diehards turn on Trump over Jeffrey Epstein flop. Tears my heart out. Donald Trump's MAGA supporters have turned on him after the Department of Justice announced in a Monday memo that there would be no more juicy revelations about Jeffrey Epstein. That includes no previously mentioned client list, no additional people charged, and no evidence to support Epstein was murdered in prison. Alex Jones, the conservative podcaster who was found civilly liable for disseminating lies that the Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax staged by crisis actors, was reduced to tears when he heard the news. "I'm gonna throw up," Jones said in a video he posted to Twitter on Tuesday. He went on to claim that the CIA, Israeli intelligence, and British intelligence were running Epstein, and it was an official U.S. government operation. The nearly 10-minute video devolved into a rant against the evil globalist system that the Trump administration is supposedly fighting against. Still, Alex Jones didn't hide his disappointment in Trump. For them, the administration, to do something like this tears my heart out. He wasn't the only supporter of the president to react with anger to the news. Mike Chernovich, a popular podcaster with 1.4 million ex-followers, addressed the president directly. "No one is believing the Epstein cover-up, Donald Trump," he wrote. "This will be part of your legacy." Ex-allies also voiced their opinions on the Epstein non-bombshell, with Elon Musk posting a clown meme mocking the administration's back and forth on Epstein. He also posted a scoreboard set to 0 with the caption, "The official Jeffrey Epstein counter." The memo on Monday came after a months-long cat-and-mouse game between Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and the legions of MAGA content creators who expected the administration to answer their Epstein-related prayers. So really, the long and the short of it is that MAGA fell for it again. But of course they did. Donald Trump is a liar, and everyone in his administration is completely incompetent. We have known this for a long time. They were looking to Pam Bondi as their savior. They thought Kash Patel was going to deliver the goods. Kash Patel can't even do his normal day job. Just listen to this report right here.
Widespread concern within the FBI that Kash Patel is just simply not taking the FBI director job as seriously as he should be. I spoke to more than 15 current and former FBI and Justice Department officials for this story, and among the things that I learned was that Patel's 8:30 a.m. intelligence briefing was reduced from 5 days a week to 2 days a week because he had trouble showing up on time. And when he does attend, I was told his briefers are finding it hard to hold his attention. Meanwhile, he's been traveling around the country on FBI jets, including to Las Vegas, where he has a home, and to Nashville, where his country singer girlfriend lives. And he's also been spotted at pro hockey games and ultimate fighting fights, hobnobbing with celebrities.
So it seems like right now that although MAGA is furious with Trump, Cash, and Bondi, Pam Bondi is the one who is getting hit the hardest. MAGA is calling for her to resign. Donald Trump hasn't said anything supportive of her. We saw Caroline Leavitt, who's kind of a good tell for this stuff, kind of dance around the statements that she made about a list, didn't really want to address it at all. But Donald Trump has made his first official statement about this story breaking in his Truth Social post. And it is exactly what we expected. Just gobbledygook. The FBI, under the discretion of Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bonino, is back to the basics, locking up criminals and cleaning up America's streets. We had the greatest law enforcement professionals in the world, but politics and corrupt leadership often prevented them from doing their job. That is no longer the case, and now they have been unleashed to do their jobs. And they are doing just that. Keep it up. Make America safe again. So Donald Trump has got some timely praise for Kash Patel. He's reinforcing his authority, trying to get MAGA behind him. Why is that? Is it maybe because Kash just released this report? Could that be the reason Donald Trump wants to bolster Kash Patel's standing in MAGA? He wants to prop him up by saying, "You're doing such a great job there, buddy. Way to go, sport. Way to release that report. Way to cover my ass." Again, we don't know these things. We don't like to get too conspiratorial on this show, but it just feels a little strange. It feels like the Epstein report came out of nowhere, doesn't it? Not that there was no lead up to this, there was no teasing of it. They didn't try to, fluff the situation. They didn't try to lay any groundwork beforehand. It was just out, right? It was just breaking. Got the report last night. We reported on it first, and then that's it. It feels like a distraction. I don't like to always say that things are distractions, because a lot of the time, it's just the incompetence of the Trump administration. I'd rather call out their stupidity than say they're playing 4D chess. But this time, it really does seem like they thought they could either distract us from already existing crises, like Donald Trump's disgraceful budget and the tragedy in Texas, or they thought that because those things were happening, maybe, just maybe, they could squeak this one by and MAGA wouldn't get so upset. It's the reason we have to be able to tell these broader narratives about the Trump administration. It's why I like to circle back and bring in so much when we do these videos. Because there's so much more to talk about than just what the current event is, right? Because if we just talk about the current event and don't look at it in the broader picture of the Trump administration, we kind of lose the forest for the trees. Or however that phrase goes. Did I screw that up? I don't know. It's not important. Phraseology isn't important right now. What's important is that we talk about the incompetence of this administration that is quite literally costing people their lives right now. Their lives, their cuts, their idiocy, costing people lives. It's no longer liberals freaking out or the liberals are freaking out. All those warnings about Donald Trump, he's not a fascist, he's not going to kill you. Well, he has. Millions of people during his first term unnecessarily suffered and died. Now people are losing their lives again. Donald Trump doesn't care. He just doesn't. And it's sickening. And someone who I think did a great job breaking it all down, as best you can in a moment like this, was Nicole Wallace.
East, it's 3 p.m. in central Texas, the site of one of the most devastating and tragic floods in the United States in the past 100 years. At least 90 people have lost their lives. Many others are still missing after catastrophic flash flooding Friday morning along the Guadalupe River. This time-lapse video shows just how quickly the waters rose there, swamping a highway in a matter of minutes. The Guadalupe River rose by 26 feet in just 45 minutes, catching countless people by surprise. Here's how some people have described what happened.
Opened the door and the water was up to the door. Ran to my room, grabbed some boots and came back and water was coming in the door. I just felt the whole house pick up and been on a lot of boats and it felt like I was in a boat.
So I said, we need to get out of the house. So I grabbed my wife and we literally jumped in the water, and it swept us down to about 200 feet down that way. And there's a crepe myrtle tree that we grabbed hold of, and we waited for rescue. I literally pulled out my waterproof phone and started calling people going, hey, get Swiftwater Rescue to come get us, because we are like in extremis. We are in bad shape.
We just saw like an ocean out there. It's just like completely destroying everything. We saw like a whole cabin just floating down, and that's when we knew like things were getting actually real out there. Like we were starting to realize that this was a real natural disaster crisis.
As I'm sure you've heard, many of the victims are from Camp Mystic. That's an all-girls Christian summer camp. In a statement, the camp says that 27 girls have been killed in the flood. 10 are still missing. The camp's director died trying to save his campers from the flood. His grandson wrote in a statement this, quote, if he wasn't going to die of natural causes, this was the only other way, saving the girls that he so loved and cared for. His impact will never leave the lives he touched. Now, the entire region is in the midst of an all-hands-on-deck rescue effort, with locals from all walks of life pitching in.
You know, I've got 2 babies at home. It's the least I could do. You know, they're home safe, and there's people out there that they're missing their children or their family members. So I feel like it's the least I could do to help.
Being able to find the remains and perhaps let their families know some clarity on what exactly happened for sure. I know if I was in that situation myself, it would bring me some closure knowing definitively what happened, instead of continuously holding out, wondering if the one I love is still out there.
Today, much of the area remains under a flood watch again, with 2 to 4 inches of rain possible, up to 10 inches in some places, as locals and first responders face harrowing conditions. Questions are also swirling, though, about the initial response. Texas officials initially blamed the National Weather Service for failing to predict the amount of rainfall. On that, NBC News reports this, quote, independent meteorologists and a former NWS official said warnings issued in the run-up to the flooding were about as timely and accurate as could be expected with the weather data available in real time. However, the New York Times reports this, quote, crucial positions at the local offices of the National Weather Service were unfilled as severe rainfall inundated parts of central Texas on Friday morning, prompting some experts to question whether staffing shortages made it harder for the forecasting agency to coordinate with local emergency managers as floodwaters rose. Compounding the issue, what looked like a shrug from Donald Trump when he was confronted with questions about the possibility that the federal government fell short in warning Texas residents, and that his administration's gutting of federal agencies might hamper efforts to respond to emergencies like this one. Watch that.
President, are you still planning to phase out FEMA?
Well, FEMA is something we can talk about later. But right now they're busy working, so we'll leave it at that. Go ahead.
Are you investigating whether some of the cuts to the federal government left key vacancies at the National Weather Service or in the emergency coordination?
No, they did not. No, they did. I'll tell you, you look at that what a situation that all is, and that was really the Biden setup. That was not our setup, but I wouldn't blame Biden for it either. I would just say this is a 100-year catastrophe. And it's just so horrible to watch.
That's where we start today with Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez, his district neighbors, that of Kerr County. Also joining us, MSNBC senior political analyst, Texas resident through and through, Matthew Dowd is here. But we're going to start with my colleague, NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler in Kerrville, Texas. Ryan, take us through what's happening right now.
Well, people hold on to hope here. It is still an active search and rescue operation. Officials say they're still in the primary phase of this.
Donald Trump is completely apathetic towards leadership in a time when he needs to be doing it most. This administration just doesn't care. And that's kind of the point. The cruelty is the point. The lack of empathy is the point. Donald Trump thinks that makes him strong. It makes him weak. It makes him weak. How little of a leader he is. He's not a leader. And we gotta call that out every single day on the show. We're going to be. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.